Welcome back, traders. Second portion of our show, market movers, and we have a low price stock making the headlines today. Sprint.
All you rebate traders out there that like to trade this Sprint symbol S stock had earnings here today. Trade as high as $2.67. Has now come in and is only trading up 3 cents at $2.48. So nice spike off the initial earnings report, is pulling back only up a few cents now. I'd keep an eye on that high that's set up there at 267. What are you thinking, Joel?
267 be a relevant number. I'm also looking back to early December, the activity in this stock, and you did top out there a couple days at 265 and 267. So I think that'd be your real good resistance, initial resistance. After that, there were a couple of other daily highs at 273 and 285, and of course, $3 level held on several occasions in November. Coming back on the downside, Dennis, you are trading within yesterday's range, so 255. Use that as your swing number. If you can get back above and hold that 255, look for that pre-market high. On the other hand, if they turn around and don't like the numbers, look for yesterday's low at 243.
Here's one that is flying, Joel. Just reporting right now. Ralph Lauren, which is symbol RL, just giving the earnings right now. I don't even think CNBC has reported it yet. 157.07 is where it closes. Trading 168.20 right now. So it's blowing through. This high you're looking at over here, the 52-week high, is 164.55. We've just blown through that in the pre-market, trading up to 168.23. So the Ralph Lauren numbers are looking really good here. That could put a little bit of strength in some of your other apparel retailers, Joel. What do you think of Ralph Lauren?
I wish I owned it, Dennis. 2 week high, Dennis. 164.55 will now be support in this thing, if you can believe that. Just at the moment, it looks like it's topping out at this 168.23 level, but that was just after that spike. So keep an eye on 168.23 here. A break mode, look for that old 52-week high at 164.55.
Disney reported last night the stock went for a wild ride after the report. In the initial report, this stock spiked up all the way to 41.79. And then it just went a sell-off mode, and it actually tanked down. Maybe Joel can find out. I can't remember how low it went, but Joel will have that. Went down to the 39, so basically gave back $2 entire, which is a huge move for Disney. Then bounced back up, and now it's kind of trading near settlement. So we're at $40.79 after closing at $40.98 the day before. But it's been a wild ride since the 4 o'clock close, Joel. Do you have that price where it traded down to thereafter?
Yeah, it traded down to 39.76.
So traded up to 41.79, then down to 39.76, and then it came and kind of settled in the middle.
Yep, that is quite a ride for the House of Mouse. Looking at the numbers now, just since things have settled down quite a bit. I've been keeping an eye on yesterday's close here and yesterday's high, Dennis. 40.98 was the close. We made a 41.15 high. That was a fresh high of the move. I would look for that to be your first stopping point on the upside. Of course, I'm sure anyone that bought that 41.79 will be looking to get out at or near that level. That would be the next stopping point. Coming back on the downside, don't think we'll see that 39.79 level, but I do like the double bottom area, 39.96 to 40.20. So let's call the range in the House of Mouse today 40.10, maybe to 41.10.
Time Warner reported earnings here as well, Joel. Stock has been bouncing around too, trading up over $40 right after the report, just after 7 o'clock Eastern this morning. Then sold off, and now is actually trading right in the middle, 39.20. So it's up a $1.10. They're decent numbers, you know. The earnings beat. They raised the dividend, and they announced a stock buyback. So they said a lot of good things here. 39 I was like was going to be pretty key on this, and just for full disclosure, I do have a trading position on in this one as well.
looking at the longer term resistance, Dennis, this stock has really had been holding the 38.5 area, going back since March. We have taken that out in the pre-market. That pre-market high that you're talking about is over $40. It's going to have a hard time getting up over that level. 40.02 was the overnight high. Coming back on the downside, Dennis, you had one spike down below to the 38.70 level, but I'd be more focused on yesterday's high at 38.29. If I was really trying to hold on to a position for it to cover the gap on the short side.
CVS reported here as well. Joel, full disclosure, I have a trading position on in that one too. Seems like I want to trade these earnings here lately. But the stock is trading up here 70 cents. 43.08 is where it closed. 43.75. Obviously some significant resistance up there at the 52-week high of 43.98. What do you think, Joel?
Same thing, Dennis. We've managed to rise in the pre-market. We have not quite got to that level yet, that 52-week high. Actually, we did, Dennis. We had a couple spotty trades here at 44 even to 44.02 level. I will look at that as major resistance. Coming back on the downside, you really got to like this 42.90 to 43.11 area. Let's call it 43. That was yesterday's low. That will be real good support for the stock.
Open Table, this was one of your stocks we were talking about, and Joel had a personal experience there from a while back on it. The stock actually spiked up really good after their earnings. It's now pulling back. It's up only a nickel. 51.50 right now is where I've got it after after closing 51.45. So stock barely trading up here now. What do you think of Open Table, OPEN?
Holy mackerel, Dennis. That thing did really get a spike in the pre-market. 57.49. I do not see that level being approached here in the regular session. Looking at the dailies, Dennis, we're not even trading above yesterday's high at 51. Excuse me. Yep, yesterday. Wow, they're saying a big range yesterday. 51.96 was yesterday's high. We are trading below that level. I would use that as resistance. After that, I'd look for the two-day high at 52.64. Coming back on the downside, Dennis, I would use this pre-market low at 49.60 as support. Below that, you're really looking at yesterday's low at 47.82. After a monster sell-off for this stock when it got up over 118 to 66, bottomed out at $32 level. It's just kind of been a slow, steady recovery, and doesn't look like the earnings are going to derail that momentum.
Fertilizer companies might be stronger today here, Joel. We've got AGU Agrium trading up on their earnings report. 83.88 it's trading at right now after closing at 81.20. These couple of tops here from the last few days, if you go 2 days ago, interesting enough, that top was 83.82. So we're trading right there where we were trading a couple of days ago after we sold off yesterday. 85 bucks. You can see these couple of tops there in late October. 85.13, 85.25. I'd say there's big resistance up there in the 85 area. I'd expect high frequency resistance in the high 84s. So if it is continue the rally mode, I think if it went up another buck from here, you'd find some pretty decent high frequency resistance there as those guys lean on that old 85 level. Other stocks might move. This one would be Potash, POT. Actually, Potash is trading up a little bit here in sympathy in the pre-market. 46.41 is trading at after closing at 45.99. So your fertilizer stocks are looking good here, Joel. What do you think of AGU?
AGU had just after having several days, very interesting here, Dennis. Several days of trading less than 1 million shares. Had a breakout day yesterday and traded almost. That was ahead of the earnings. The 11th hour has not traded a lot in the pre-market, so I would buyer beware. Buying this thing up here at this level as it coincides with the tops you said for the last couple days. If in fact it can get above and hold this level, Dennis, at 85 looks real nice. Coming back on the downside. 83.52 was yesterday's high. Below that level, I would not want to be long the stock with a with your money?
Cisco, Joel, CSCO reports earnings after the bell. This is a stock that disappointed 3 out of 4 quarters last year. Actually, the only time it was last quarter where it actually didn't have that bad of earnings. The stock has had a heck of a run up into the earnings. If we go back, we were bottomed out at 13.30 back in August. So the last 6 months, this stock is up roughly 70%. So it's had a heck of a run here, Joel, over the last 6 months. Really run up into this earnings report. I hope for Cisco shareholders that they beat the number and the stock can move up. There is a gap. If you go back to February, we gapped down on that one earnings report from $22 down to the 20 area, actually below 20. So now that we get above this 20, there is a little bit of gap you could fill, and if it is a good report, it could fill it relatively quickly and get up into that 22 area. But I think they really got to blow the numbers away for this thing to rally. What do you think, Joel, of Cisco?
Cisco running into problems here, 2020 to 2030 area. The last three highs have been right there. If it, in fact, can hold that, just open up into that gap, Dennis. 20 and a half, I'm sure you'll run into some major sellers. But as long as this thing, holds the close 2020, you just got to assume it's going to march higher into the earnings.
Well, that's all we've got for you today. Obviously, lots of little earnings here to report. ICE was another one that reported, but we don't have time to go through them all individually. Anything else you want to close with here, Joel?
Just hanging out at yesterday's high, Dennis. Real muted activity in the S&Ps, so use this 346 as your swing area. Of course, using the Globex levels, 1342.50 is good support early in the section, and look for a test of the overnight high at 1348 and a quarter. We'll be back with you tomorrow.